All right, welcome back to the Fantasy Bomb podcast. We are live again. Thought we were live for the past 20 minutes or so, and I think we were on for part of the time, but we're going to do a little recap of what we've been talking about with NFL Draft. We're doing a live stream here of what's going on and with some draft reaction, and I'm wiping up some of the tears that I have because of the Dolphins pick that was just made. Not so much that, but the pick that was made right before the Dolphins, which is Josh Rosen went to the Cardinals, which means he did not go to the Dolphins. And then Chris, your team is on the clock as we speak. Is that correct? You're on the same thing as me?
Yeah, we're on the clock, and my third choice just got drafted by the Buccaneers, Vita Vea. So I'm not even sure who they target here. Maybe Derwin James. I think they're going to go defense here, but man, I really wanted Ward. I really wanted Fitzpatrick. I really wanted Vea, and they're all gone. So at this point, I'm not going to be too ecstatic about whoever we draft, unless, I don't know, maybe they'll just pull a rabbit out of the hat or something. But I do think they're going to go defense.
All right. And that's the most glaring need there. Talking about Vita V, and thought maybe the Dolphins would go there because, of course, Ndamukong Suh gone. Just because I think he was probably a little too good. Adam Gase doesn't like players who are already established and produce. Just like Jay Jai and Jarvis Landry, they're no good to him, and so I'm not bitter at all. But anyways, what was my point? Oh yeah, I don't like Adam Gase. But I thought, okay, here's a team that clearly seems to be wanting to rebuild. And so it would make sense to take a quarterback since Ryan Tannehill, as our friend and colleague Justin Carter aptly pointed out on Twitter. Thank you, at Just Carts. But he just said, you know what? Tannehill's obviously not the future. Why not take Lamar Jackson at this point? I really had thought, I'd hoped that if one of those quarterbacks, if Mayfield wasn't number one, which we didn't think he was going to be number one until like 24 hours ago, if him or Rosen or one of those guys slipped to 11, Dolphins would take him. Didn't happen, so I'm not shocked that they took something other than quarterback. Defense makes sense. Minka Fitzpatrick, really good player, really good fit, and that was a need for them. So it's actually a good pick, but I guess I'm just disappointed that Tannehill's still our quarterback. So there's that. There's my Dolphins rant. Sorry, Dan. At least his legacy is safe, and we know that he will still, for a while longer, be the greatest quarterback ever in Miami history. Nobody is even going to threaten that. All right, so the Skins now are on the clock. They've about 5 minutes left. Let's walk back some of the things we were just talking about a few minutes earlier. So to recap the last few picks, the Colts went with Quentin Nelson, considered the best offensive lineman in the draft and one of the best I've seen. It's a little hyperbolic, but seen it said that he's one of the best linemen of recent draft history. And you were saying about Andrew Luck that this is good news, correct?
I think so. I tweeted out, I think it was a week ago or maybe a little less than that. I saw some article on ESPN, I think it was, where they said, Colts confident Andrew Luck will play this year. And I said, if you're really confident in Andrew Luck, prove it by drafting an offensive lineman in one of the early rounds to protect your franchise quarterback. Because Andrew Luck has been hit over 100 times every year, the last 3 years. He's been hit over 100 times. That's by far the most of any quarterback in the league every year. So if you really feel that you're confident that Andrew Luck's going to play this year, you need to give him an offensive line that can keep him up on his feet, right, and keep him upright. Because we've seen Andrew Luck, even with not a lot around him and with a bad defense, he can will this team to victories, right? He can pull victories out if he's given the opportunity. So I think this is a good sign for Andrew Luck's future. Whether we see him week one or not, I'm not confident about that. But I think we're going to see Andrew Luck in 2018, and I think we could start, bumping up the Colts skill position players a little more. And Andrew Luck, who's a big time value right now in best ball drafts.
Absolutely. And again, it's funny how without really seeing or hearing anything about that player specifically and having a position other than a skill position drafted, it can mean so much for a quarterback like Luck. you still have to be a little nervous. The fact that he missed basically an entire year plus, and we haven't even seen him in action. You still have to be a little cautious. I don't know that anybody considers him a QB1 anymore at this point in fantasy. I mean, at least you can't unless you really, really anchor yourself with a strong backup quarterback. But he could, of course, you're rolling the dice there, could be a great value. But that offensive line, God, it was bad. They had to fix that. I mean, no matter who was at quarterback, even if they was still Brissett or somebody else, they had to go offensive line. So
yeah, but I'd seen some mocks where they had gone like linebacker there, they had gone cornerback there, and to me, if that would have like them making this pick to me that gives me more confidence in Luck. But you're right. I don't expect him to come back in the first whatever game he makes his first start, and I don't expect him to come in and just be the Andrew Luck of old. But he's got that upside that not a lot of quarterbacks have. So he's got the top 5 quarterback upside. So I think he's going like in the 11th, 12th rounds of best ball drafts right now. So he's a really big value. And
yeah. And I was a little surprised. I thought Nelson might go sooner in our mock that we did last week. I had Nelson going, I think, number 3 overall. So, he might not have been there. If he wasn't, who knows? Who knows what the Colts might have done? It would have been interesting to see if a player like Barkley was still there. But Barkley was gone at number 2. And so then there's, of course, domino effect there. We already talked about Sam Darnold with the Jets. Denzel Ward goes to the Browns. Bradley Chubb with the Broncos. And then after that was Quentin Nelson, number 7. As I see, the Redskins are actually making their pick. We'll talk about that in a second. It's a defensive player, so nothing too exciting fantasy-wise. But we'll let you talk about your team there. The Bills with Josh Allen. Let's please recap that again, because I want to make sure everyone heard our little discussion there. Josh Allen. The Bills traded up to get Josh Allen, and immediately your reaction was what?
Shock. I mean, I think we both agreed. It was funny. When we were talking about it live, when the trade was made, we thought, okay, they're trading up to get Josh Rosen, right? Because somehow Josh Rosen was still there at 7. And you, I think, made a little joke about like, well, unless they're getting Josh Allen, but I think we both were kind of like, haha, yeah, they're not going to do that. And then they went out and got Josh Allen. So I don't know. I mean, what's crazy is they probably could have gotten Josh Allen at 12, right?
I don't know. That's the thing. These quarterbacks. Well, okay.
I mean, Rosen just went 10th.
Rosen went 10th, exactly, and I think a lot of people have Rosen, including us, as higher than Allen.
Okay, if the Dolphins were going to take Josh Allen at 11, right? We know that.
Well, I don't know that actually. I don't. No, and I'm not saying that because I didn't want them to. I don't think necessarily that they were going to take a quarterback unless maybe it was one of their top 2 or 3 guys, and I don't know that they would have had Allen. I don't even think they worked him out necessarily. I could be wrong on that, but nobody thought Trubisky was going to get taken so high that the Bears were going to give up what they did to move up just to take him, number 2?
Yeah.
Nobody saw that coming. So when there's a team, we found year after year, when there's a team that is starved for a quarterback and they think they know who that guy is, they don't care. They will do what it takes to get him. And Allen, kind of like Trubisky. You remember Trubisky, he wasn't a finished product. I mean, there was a lot of concerns that he only basically had 1 year in college, 1 year of production, because he just didn't have enough experience in playing time. He had the physical skills, but he just didn't have the resume. Allen, not exactly that case. He had a really good year, and then he followed up with a worse year. And, there's accuracy issues. So with Allen, it's kind of a different story, but obviously the Bills think he's their guy. And so that's it. They needed a quarterback, period. We knew the Bills were going to trade up at some point, though, right? Is that fair to say? They had to trade up to get a quarterback?
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised that they traded up. I was surprised by who they picked. When
Right.
they traded up, I just assumed instantly they're getting Josh Rosen. I figured, the Bills' war room is sitting there, like, they're sweating. They're like, are we going to get one of our guys? And here they go. They're able to trade up to 7. Josh Rosen's available. They're like, yes, we lucked into our guy, and they went with Josh Allen. So I don't know.
But
There's
you gotta
a
think-
reason why bad teams stay bad.
And then that's what I said too. As you know, I can definitely wear my Miami fandom tonight. If there's a night to do it, now it's the time to do it. Not that I don't do it every week, but um, I had to resist trolling online on Twitter as we were trying to do this show, trolling Bills fans, because I love the fact that Buffalo took Josh Allen, because not only am I not a Buffalo fan, but I'm not a Josh Allen fan. So I think it's a perfect marriage, and hopefully it keeps them kind of down at the bottom of the division for the next 5 years. So anyways, moving on from that, your Skins just took Deron Payne, defensive tackle, and we knew they were going to go defense. You're not sounding too excited. You were hoping for Vita V. He was gone the pick before. You're not a fan of Payne specifically, or you were just hoping they would go a different direction?
I would have much preferred Derwin James here. I'm not really that big on Deron Payne anyways. I would have much preferred Derwin James there. I mean, obviously my top 3 picks for them were Ward, Fitzpatrick, and Villa, but they were gone. But I still think Derwin James, he could be an instant impact guy in the secondary. I would have loved to see that, Norman on one side, James on the other, but I don't know. I don't know about this pick. We'll see, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, not okay. From a fantasy standpoint, it means pretty much nothing for any of us, and it's not an exciting pick. He could be a productive player. It'll help out across the board, but there's still definitely a lot of needs. What do the Redskins need to do besides what they've just done with Payne defensive line? They need to address some issues in the secondary too, don't they?
Secondary and maybe running back, but I don't think, there was a lot of talk that like Darius, oh man, I always butcher his name. The Darius Juice was going to go, that they were going to take him with the 13th pick, but I never believed that.
No.
I mean, sure, they're stuck with Perrine and Kelly, but it's not like running back, as we've talked about, is not that important of a position, right? You can find a running back. You could probably find a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round this year that'll be more than capable. So I would like to see, they need secondary help, and then probably later in the draft they're going to need some, a running back, targeted running back a little bit later. So I would have loved to see. I think Derwin James is one of the top. With him, Fitzpatrick, and Ward were the clear top 3. Guys in the secondary in this draft, so it's disappointing that they didn't get one of them.
Yeah, and the thing is, and that's to some extent, we've talked about Saquon Barkley going number 2 to the Giants. It was surprising to see a running back go that high, and Barkley, of course, seems to be the exception in terms of the way that position is valued because of his amazing combine. It was just amazing, but also his production and his potential there. But I think you're not going to see a whole lot of other running backs taken, and maybe not any in the 1st round at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Geis, I think is how we say it, Geis is the next running back taken, and it's early 2nd round. Nobody else. This running back class, to me, has depth. You can go, up to 10 guys who could be contributors right away, but it doesn't have a lot of elite performers. I think Barkley is the only one we would consider who could be elite right away. I think Geis could be good, but in the right situation. So,
we have a trade here, right?
We have, I was going to say, let's catch up on the picks here. We quickly glossed over some unexciting fantasy picks. The Mike McGlinchey, a tackle for the 49ers, and Roquan Smith, very highly thought of linebacker there, went to the Bears.
By the way, we didn't really talk about that too much. We've talked about some defenses, like we talked about the Cleveland defense. We talked about Denver's defense possibly being better. This is very good for the Bears defense. The Bears are another team that I've been targeting a lot. They already have a good secondary. Roquan Smith, that was a need at linebacker. This is another defense that people are going to sleep on, I think, that could be a top 10 defense in 2018. And people are going to, just kind of like what we talked about with the Browns, people are going to be like, oh, the Bears aren't any good, I'm not picking their defense. But they have players on defense, and this offense could be better. And this is like a kind of similar to the Jaguars. They're going to probably play a ball control style offense, which helps the defense. So the Bears are another team that I think you could target late in drafts for defenses.
Absolutely. And so from a fantasy standpoint, defense is usually an afterthought. You wait to the last round, second to last round. We talk a lot of MFL 10 and best ball here, and defenses, as we've highlighted a few weeks ago, if you catch out our MFL 10 spectacular, as we call it, because we were kicking off the MFL 10 season a few weeks ago. And we sat down with MFL Todd from Fanball and talked roster construction. Defenses matter, and I learned that actually picking 3 defenses in a best ball league sometimes pays off. I won't do it personally, but I will take my second defense higher than I used to, because I do see that it does matter. So that second defense, target Cleveland, target Chicago, target some of these teams that we think of as losing teams, but could have some big weeks. All right, so we're almost nearing the end of the first half of the draft. It was pick 14 was the New Orleans Saints. But what's going on here? I'm trying to catch it on the live stream. I see Marcus Davenport from UTSA, which is right here in San Antonio, where I'm at.
Yes, Marcus, which is a little surprising to me. They traded up with Green Bay to get the 14th pick. Thought maybe they would go Lamar Jackson here, even though they do have Drew Brees. You know, he's 38 now. You got to think, a couple more years and he's probably done. And I feel like Lamar Jackson is probably the perfect guy to sit and wait, right? He's a perfect quarterback he has a lot of potential, a lot of upside. He needs to sit and wait, but they go with a defensive end. I like Davenport. I think he's good. This was already a very good defense last year. They're going to be even better this year. This looks like an easy top 10 defense next year. And you gotta wonder about the passing game again. The Saints became a kind of a rely on your running backs and defense team last year, which was a huge surprise to me, that's for sure. And that could be the case again this year.
And I'm not surprised at all to see the Saints go defense. I mean, you think about it, they really don't have needs on offense at all. You mentioned Lamar Jackson. I'm looking down the line here at who's next and who's coming up. And that's interesting. You mentioned Jackson would be a good sit and wait kind of quarterback for them, and a developmental prospect that you thought that would be a nice fit. I'm looking down the line here. I don't see any team that's going to take him unless there's a trade, but I'm looking at the Patriots at 23. Does that make sense to you?
When did the Jaguars pick?
It's just after that. I'm trying to look for the little line here too, but the next team
I think I had the Jaguars taking them I think I had the Patriots going with a linebacker first with the 23 pick. I mean, of course.
But we also know that, the Patriots, if they do take their quarterback in the future, we're all going to be wrong. We've already been half wrong on all these picks, but that's okay. Mason Rudolph, of course, has been tied to the Patriots quite a bit. We think that they have him pegged as their QB of the future for whatever reason. I don't think I expect Jackson to be taken by them, but I'm just looking at the teams that needed quarterbacks. They got their quarterback, right? The Cards, they moved up. The Bills moved up. Those top guys are gone. So, yeah, I think Jackson is going to be a very late first-round pick at best here. I mean, look, we got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Lions, the Bengals, the Bills already got their guy. So I'm seeing the Patriots, which at 23, I don't think they would take Jackson or a quarterback. Panthers, the Titans, the Falcons, Packers, none of those teams. The Steelers, now that's an interesting spot right there at 28. And then there's the Jaguars at 29. So I think either 28, 29, maybe Lamar Jackson, Steelers or Jaguars. Do you think the Steelers would after they took last year? They took Dobbs.
I mean, it's maybe, but I don't think so. I have heard that potentially the Bengals might.
Really?
Yeah, I have heard that. But I do think if he makes it past 23, if he gets past that first Patriots pick, that he's gonna end up with the Jaguars. But man, it would be just the Patriot way to just luck into like Lamar Jackson with like what was their second pick in the first round? 30?
Oh, the Patriots? I thought it was I was just reading it. It must be 30 because it was Steelers 28, Jags 29. Waiting for
they
the
have 2
thing to
picks in
come
the
around
first.
again.
Yeah, but it would be the Patriots' way to just luck into Lamar Jackson with their second first round pick, right? Like,
Yeah.
like they're just, oh, okay, well, look at it, pick 30, Lamar Jackson's sitting there. I guess we'll take him. It would be the Patriot way, but I definitely could see him going to the Jags. I mean, the Steelers make sense. I just don't know if I have not heard him. I haven't even heard them linked to any quarterback, so I don't know. But you do have to think about it, right? Because Roethlisberger did hint at retirement prior to last year, although this year he seems pretty committed to playing again. So it's definitely something they have to be thinking about, right?
Yeah, I think they've got to. I mean, they took Dobbs in the third, fourth round or something last year, and he didn't do anything too impressive, preseason or otherwise. So they still are in need of quarterback of the future. Might not be something that they take necessarily in the first round, though. The Jags, that would be the most intriguing because I could see him stepping in and you can just imagine as soon as Blake Bortles throws a pick six, all the calls for him to get on the field, right? Just give him a chance. I mean, that would be by far the most interesting spot. Let's just put it that way. But we'll see. We'll be keeping an eye on that. So we're almost done with our stream for tonight. We could, of course, go on for the whole entire night, but this draft is going to take quite a while. So let's finish up here and look at the last pick, number 15, I believe. Fill me in. You probably have a better live stream than I do. What just happened?
Number 15, the Raiders took tackle Colton Miller from UCLA. I always like it when a team takes an offensive lineman because, as we saw with the Bengals last year, we've seen with the Colts, man, on offense, it starts with the line, right? If you have a good offensive line, it gives your quarterback time. It helps your running game. So I think this is good for the Raiders. It's good for Derek Carr. It's good for the receiving game. It's good for their 10, veteran running backs that they have on the team, whatever they've got right now. So I like this pick.
Yep. Not exciting from a fantasy standpoint again, but I'll tell you what, that guy, I don't know a lot about Colton Miller, but he must be a grinder. Let's just put it that way. That guy,
he's a grinder. He grinds.
He grinds, man, daily. He's on the grind, always on his grind. All right, so I'm not going to do my horrible, ridiculous, no good John Gruden impression again. I will never do that again.
Okay, so we have an interesting situation right here.
All right, what's up?
So the Bills just traded up again to number 16. Are they going to take Lamar Jackson?
A second quarterback, because some people were saying that the Browns might be crazy enough to do that, which if you're taking the number one guy in the draft as a quarterback, I don't think you would. Hopefully you wouldn't think you need another quarterback. Now, if you have Josh Allen as your quarterback that you took first, that might be a different story. But no, I seriously doubt it. But here it is, the breakdown. The Ravens moved from the 22, right, down to 22. Bills get the 16th pick and a 5th round pick this year. And the Ravens get the 22nd pick and a 3rd round pick. So in other words, they moved up 2 rounds. The Ravens did. Moved up 2 rounds later in the draft in order to move down 6 picks in the first round and vice versa. So why would the Bills trade up at this spot? So what is their most pressing need? And let me ask you this too. What have we not seen yet? Who is not what? Not I say who, but what have we seen that has been conspicuously absent from this draft so far?
Did I lose you? Oh, you're there. I don't know. Sorry, I thought I lost you. What have we lost? What have we not seen?
Have we seen any receivers taken?
No, but do you think they're taking a receiver here?
Isn't that a need for them? We were talking about that earlier, talking about Allen and the lack of weapons and what do they have, and Kelvin Benjamin, and is he really a number one receiver? Is Zay Jones, and if he can find his clothes. What do they have? Don't they need a receiver? And isn't there, from what you might consider, an elite receiver left? I mean, I don't know. Who do you think it could be?
Well, if they're going to take a receiver here, it needs to be take the top off receiver to go with their big-armed new quarterback. If they take like a Calvin Ridley or something, that's terrible, because even though I think Ridley is better than a lot of people are giving him credit for, Ridley's skill is route running, precision, not down the field, athleticism, which isn't going to work with Josh Allen. So It looks like their pick is in. Let's see.
Here we go.
Nope, they take linebacker Tremaine Evans. That's who I was gonna say.
Wow.
That's who I was speculating that they were gonna take. I don't.
Wah, wah.
I'm
Not an
not
exciting
really.
pick, a solid pick, but did they need to trade up to do that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. I mean, I like the pick, but I don't think they needed to trade up to do it. I don't think it's that pressing of a or that impactful of a pick that they needed to trade up for it.
Well, that must be
better, it's better than picking Lamar Jackson, though. I'll give them that. I'll give the Bills that.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have made sense. Yeah, it must be a case again where they scouting department, they must have fallen in love with a guy. They think this is the fit that that perfect fit for them. This is a guy who's going to be a difference maker. You don't trade up unless you think a guy is really going to make a difference either right away or in the near future. So,
which I think you will, but that defense. I mean, there's a lot the Bills need. That's the problem, right? There's just a lot that the Bills need. They need offensive line help. They need receiver help. How much longer? How much more can they get out of LaShawn McCoy? Realistically, is Josh Allen even the answer? I mean, they need a lot of help. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways they could have gone there, I guess.
Yeah, but interesting if nothing else. But so the first half of the first round is over. We have not seen a single receiver taken. Expect DJ Moore to go possibly pretty soon, but maybe it won't happen. We both had in our mock the Cowboys taking Cortland Sutton from SMU, and that's coming up pretty soon. Their pick in the next couple of minutes here. The Chargers are on the clock, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take an offensive lineman.
Or maybe even Derwin James here. Just really, I mean, they already have a really good secondary. That could be an elite secondary, and I don't. To me, this is like Derwin James should have been picked by now. So
I had him going. I think number 4.
Yeah,
I was shocked that he's still around. So some team's going to get a steal there. Seahawks maybe could take somebody in secondary, but we'll
I think if Derwin James was still there, the Seahawks would grab him, and then it would make it very easy for them just to move on from Earl Thomas, right? But I don't. I mean, I can't imagine Derwin James falling that far, but maybe.
Well, we'll have to keep watching and find out. But these next couple of picks, I think, I don't think will be anything too impactful. Talk a lot about the dynasty impact these quarterbacks because, again, none of this is going to probably help you out for redraft this year. What we'll do for our next week's episode, and I think we're going to try this YouTube thing again with greater success, and we'll break down the rest of the first round and the other rounds, which are coming up the next couple of days. Wish I could be here to just live stream the entire thing for hours, but Chris, I have to drive to Houston tomorrow.
For what?
Volleyball tournament, not for me personally, but my daughter. So I'll be occupied.
Volleyball days are over, or what?
Yeah, before they started. I'm a fantasy athlete, not a real athlete. But yeah, I'll be live streaming this sucker on my phone all weekend long. But we're gonna break down everything that happens next week, and of course we'll be tweeting about it too. So tune in for that. Chris, any last thoughts before we finish our live broadcast here?
No, I just hope that the picks get better for my Redskins.
Yeah.
And I'm still, I mean, we always, the first round's always a big deal. It's the only round we're going to see tonight. Tomorrow I think we get the second and the third round, right? But those are big rounds because that's where we're gonna start to see where these wide receivers go. That's where we're gonna start to see where a lot of these running backs go. So even though tonight gets all the the hoopla and the hype, the second and third rounds are going to be really crucial rounds. So you guys definitely want to watch that and make sure you know where these rookies are winding up, so you can get an accurate idea of what kind of value these guys are going to have in fantasy land.
Absolutely. We talked about up until here we're at pick 17 now. We've seen one running back go, and that's of course Barkley. Not a single receiver go, not a single tight end. So from a fantasy standpoint, the best is yet to come. The most intriguing part of the draft. These might be the most impactful picks for their individual teams. But in the fantasy landscape, yeah, I think tomorrow will actually be a lot more interesting. And we'll see where those receivers shake out. All right, Chris,
And
it's
I
been
think I'm going to be right. I'm going to be writing about the second and third rounds for Rotoballers. You guys want to check that out?
Good, definitely. We'll post that instant reaction. That's right, when you get that out. So look for that. Yeah. All right, guys. So this is it for the Fantasy Bomb for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you guys next time.